welcome back to Film School Rejects. I'm your co-host, Skye Williamson, and with me is...
I'm Billy Howells.
And today we're going to be discussing The Conjuring. However, pre-warning, this is only The Conjuring universe, as in the franchise, without The Nun and Annabelle. This is because, obviously, the new Conjuring is out, which we've both seen, very excited about. And while the new Conjuring does have elements of Annabelle, we're not going to be discussing that in this video. And podcast episode, if you're listening on Spotify, hello to you. Which is your favourite Conjuring? Let's start off with that.
Oh, I mean, my favourite Conjuring has changed over time. It's because, I mean, let's just start with the first one, because the first one is probably one of the first horror movies I ever saw. And really, I think it still to this day, it leaves quite a big impact on me. Like, it pretty freaked me out when I saw it. God, I must have been about 11 or 12 when I first saw The Conjuring. And, you know, it did, I think actually I'm kind of maybe more scared of it now than I was then. But, yeah, I've had a weird relationship with that first Conjuring movie where kind of, I really loved it when I first saw it. And then over the years, I was just like, yeah, I liked it. I remember rewatching it before The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It came out. I was just like, yeah, it's good. But then, I may have told this story before, so bear with me if I have. But the last time I rewatched the first Conjuring movie, and the time I went, oh, this movie's actually pretty great, is me and my mate, we were staying over at our mate's house. It was about, God, it must have been about 12:30 in the evening. We were both pretty drunk. We were staying in our mate's living room. So we decided, as you do, to put on The Conjuring. And, yeah.
Got freaked out?
A bit, yeah. And
did they have a basement?
Thankfully not.
What I've learned from this film, and guys, luckily I live in the UK. I don't know, I'm assuming our listeners also live in the UK. What I've learned is that when I buy a house, and I can't afford to move out that house, there will be no basement, there will be no attic, there will be no stairs that I can fall down. Yeah, that's what I've learned from the Conjuring series. But carry on, Billy. So you're watching the Conjuring?
And yeah, so I think the moment we realised we were pretty scared of the movie was when we had to go into the hallway, which was fully pitch black, in order to go to the toilet. And, you know, at about 1 a.m, when you're pretty drunk in a dark hallway, having been watching The Conjuring, that's pretty terrifying. And I have to say that's my best experience with the movie. Most movies, when you say, "Oh, my best experience with it was drunk," that's a pretty big negative towards it. But actually, I think in this case, it's the biggest compliment I can give the film. But to be honest, the film still leaves a lasting impression on me. Like, I still find it very freaky, and I love the use of practical effects.
Yes.
It's, you know, James Wan is very much a filmmaker who, I mean, yeah, okay, he made the Aquaman movies, so not those withstanding, he is very much a practical filmmaker. You know, he made Insidious, he made Saw. You know, those are movies that rely on the practical effects, and The Conjuring is no different.
I really do like The Conjuring. It's always been one of my favourite franchises to go back to. Saw is definitely up there, but they're very different films, right? So, like, supernatural-wise, I think Ed and Lorraine are such lovable characters. Not the real people, right? We're not talking about the real ones.
Yeah.
That's problematic. I'm talking about the characters, okay? Don't clip this and put it on Twitter, okay? The characters, okay? So every time I mention it, the characters, guys. We're not talking about the real people. Yes, it's based on a true story, but you know, the truth can be bended.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions in terms of their actual involvement in a lot of these cases. But, you know, just for the sake of the movie.
For the sake of the movie, I love them. They're my favourite part of The Conjuring, and I'm thinking how important sometimes it is those, like, little moments between characters where we actually, like, feel, like, not just, like, a physical chemistry, but, like, we can see it, like, the relationship they have and the trust they have. And I think it's, like, so beautiful, and it makes the films feel much more authentic.
Yeah.
Than some other like exorcism films I've seen.
I think as the movies have progressed, even just in terms of the stories, they've more and more felt like love stories, and the stories have relied on the relationship between Ed and Lorraine, which is part of what makes these movies more than just your typical horror movies. That you really do care about Ed and Lorraine, and you want to see them succeed in what they're doing. And
because
I think
at a point it can get kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
Right? In like exorcism films are kind of always the same, right? You see the kind of thing at first, you get introduced to some of the background characters, and then eventually they do an exorcism, and oh my goodness, it's finally saved, whatever, maybe like one person dies, or that's about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one was different, the latest one. I liked it a lot. And you have to have some kind of continuity throughout it, which I enjoy quite a lot. And I also like they let the actors age as well. And they show that. And I kind of appreciate that. First Conjuring. I think the first Conjuring definitely feels the most eerie to me. I think it's open. It's in like just kind of scarce territory. I think you obviously have the big family unit, and there's just like something about it that's just like eerie. However, I have some issues with the film. Sometimes the jump scares are a bit cheap or they're too quick, right? And I complained about it. And then they fixed it in this film, so I'm okay, right? Because there was like, I don't know if you remember, it was a really good one though, right? They have the clapping, like, which is like a childhood thing, right? Obviously, Conjuring 1 is like, obviously they're all with families, but they have quite a lot of young girls, and they do like hide and seek, and you have to clap so that they know where they are. Obviously, as soon as this starts in the film, I go, oh, that's gonna be fun later.
Yeah.
I love when you get to see like a little toy in the corner and it acts like a certain way, and you go, wow. I can see where the director's going to go with this. We do get introduced to Annabelle in the first film, but it's like as a flashback. It kind of feels a bit useless. It's obviously to introduce the idea of like haunting and stuff, but it's also just they wanted to
looking back, it almost feels like it was just a setup for a prequel.
Oh yeah, like 100%. I've just realised that my door and the curtains are open and it's dark outside, and I suddenly just become really creeped out.
Yeah.
And I really want my mum to come and shut them. My point is, the first one's really good. The acting is definitely better than the second one.
Really?
The family dynamic works better for me, personally.
You see, going into The Conjuring 2, I think that The Conjuring 1 is the scarier movie, but I think The Conjuring 2 has the better story and the better characters.
Yeah, I think it's... Sequels are always a hit or miss, personally, because you've laid the foundation of the film, the whole idea of exorcisms, because to me this is like the exorcism film, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously you have The Exorcist, right? But...
I prefer this to The Exorcist.
I prefer this, right? This is...
Yeah.
It feels... My problem with exorcism films, and I'm a religious person, but it does fundamentally just feel like a religious, like, push.
Yeah.
Or, like, shove. Whereas this, obviously they are religious and you get a lot of religion, but it also feels like they're doing it for the greater good. And because it's, like, they're a couple, they do it together. Obviously she has these visions, and they're helping families, so it feels better.
Yeah, with The Conjuring 2, I think out of all four movies, I think this is the family I've cared the most about. The British accents, they're, a bit... I think the film's depiction of Britain... The film's depiction of Britain feels very Americanized. Like, I want to say it feels like it was made by Americans, but James Wan is an Australian director, so I don't know if that really counts. But... I think the writers were probably American, but yeah, it does feel like a pretty Americanized depiction of Britain. But that aside, it's just a bit of a nitpick. I really related to their struggling situation. I love the slower moments in The Conjuring 2 as well. Like, my favourite, in fact, not just The Conjuring 2, but my favourite moment in this entire franchise is from The Conjuring 2, and it's not even a horror moment. My favourite moment in The Conjuring 2 is where Patrick Wilson brings out the guitar and he sings to the children. That is my favourite scene in this entire franchise.
Okay.
I think it's a really simple sequence, but it's such a heartfelt sequence. It's, at that point in the film, that moment is something the kids really need. And, you feel that Ed Warren wants to give that to the children, and you feel the children get that back. The best thing about this franchise is that some of the best moments aren't the horror moments. They're the moments, going back to talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're the moments where you care about these characters and you want to spend time with them.
You kind of just have two strangers that come into your home when you have like some really weird things going on in your life. And yet somehow these two strangers have offered you such great comfort in your time of need.
They become part of the family.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important, because especially when anything happens to Lorraine, which happens like, a lot with her visions, I really like when I see the family care about her.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful when we give kindness back. What is your favourite jump scare?
My
in the second one?
The second one?
Because I can't name one.
I mean...
Is it... I feel like there's a weird, creepy chair scene, or is that the third one?
But I think the one that sticks out to me in the second one, because The Conjuring 2 is where the nun is introduced.
Yeah. Okay, that film might be the boringest film I've ever seen, except the last 10 minutes.
What, The Conjuring 2?
Oh, no, the nun.
Oh, okay.
But the character...
Yeah.
Oh! I'm ready to cry. I don't want to see it. Don't make me do it.
I think the best jump scare in The Conjuring 2 is a sequence involving Lorraine, where I can't remember specifically what happens in the sequence, but I remember it involves a painting where, like, the nun, something like a shadow or something, it moves into a painting of her as she runs out of the rain. That is pretty freaky.
Yeah, and they have it in the fourth movie. They just have that painting chilling there. And every single time we go into that room, I didn't give a fuck about Annabelle. I was thinking, why is that painting looking at me? Get the painting off my screen, okay? But no, the nun is terrifying. I think the nun is really well done. Compared to some of the spiritual ones. I think some of the spirits are a bit goofy, but that's your jump scare for the second one. Okay, I can get on that one. I can agree with you for once, Billy.
So should we move on to The Conjuring 3 now? The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This was one of the first movies back when it was kind of 2021, around May 2021. Lockdown had just, cinemas had reopened officially. They weren't going to shut again. And one of the first movies back was The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I remember it was one of the first movies I saw. I mean, this was pretty forgettable. I mean, I genuinely had to go back to my Letterboxd review to remember what I thought of it. And in that, I kind of said that the first half's really solid and has a lot of promise, but the second half just kind of gets quite convoluted. And in general, it's just... Michael Sharves, who directed Devil Made Me Do It, and he then directed Last Rites, he just isn't as good with the horror as James Wan. I
agree with you, because normally The Conjuring is normally kind of boring in the first half. Like, not really, because I kind of like the eerie stuff, but in comparison, like, it gets more exciting in the second half, so I think it is weird. I agree with you that it's the other way around for this one. I kind of forget The Conjuring 3 exists.
Yeah,
in my head, I go Conjuring, Annabelle, Conjuring 2, Nun.
Yeah.
The last Conjuring. That's my head. I kind of forget the third one.
I wouldn't be able to tell you a single plot point from this movie. And that's the thing. It's not a bad movie. It's just, as I said, it's just forgettable. It just didn't really feel like a story.
Clearly, we've forgotten, guys.
Yeah.
Two people that criticize movies 24/7 cannot tell you something about the plot.
I mean, I will say the title is a terrible title. Like
It's too long.
Exactly. It's just call it The Conjuring 3.
It's okay. Just call it Conjuring 3. Like, I'm gonna see it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it The Conjuring 3.
Yeah.
Just submit to it. I think it's also too dark, like, visually, the third one.
Really? Because I remember, going back to my Letterboxd review, one of the things I did say is that I think the cinematography is actually really good. Is that all we've got to say on The Conjuring 3? Should we move on?
I don't care about The Conjuring 3. Let's move on
So,
to my
Conjuring
favourite
Last
one.
Rites.
I saw it 20 minutes ago.
Okay, we have not discussed this at all, by the way. This is the first time we are talking about The Conjuring 4 at all.
Cinematography, guys, it was on point. I was so happy.
Looks amazing.
It looks gorgeous. There's like eerie parts in there.
The way, like for me, the main thing I noticed, the way the light shine through windows.
Yeah.
That was
gorgeous.
Looks amazing.
I loved it. I feel like there's so much space in this film for the relationships between the Warren family, and there's just like eeriness, but a comfort eeriness in their relationships, and that's what I love most about the film is the small, like, she just like holds her hand, or she has like the rhyming to like pretend to, you know, obviously the spirits aren't there, which she sees quite a lot, like her mum does. Her mum doesn't want her to be like her, which I think is. We've seen it in Fantastic Four. We've seen that like a lot. You don't want to be your parent. The parents don't want you to be that way. I think it's a very touching film. But this mirror, guys, right? This mirror is now at the other family. Obviously, you have to have a little bit of religion thrown in there. Obviously, what did you think this was? This is an exorcism film, guys, and it gets freaky. This is when it starts. We have. First thing, it happened really quickly. I was really surprised, which is how you know it's really bad, right? If it starts as soon as the mirror is there.
The first bad thing happens before the title card.
The title card, beautiful. I loved it.
It like the music and like I love like the
really
scrolling.
eerie.
Like it freaks me out every time. It's so.
The
loud,
music really freaks me out.
Yeah.
This film really did freak me out. I'll be honest. It had a lot going for it. And also, it felt more physical than the other films. Like, the spirits have never felt like they could actually harm. Like, they could harm it in a small way. This time, it felt like I thought I was going to watch blood cold murder on my screen. Like, it looked really physically real because they were damaging stuff. They weren't getting, like, they did have dolls. But they weren't having objects do all the work for them. There was no, like, just opening and closing the door to freak you out. They were coming for you.
I mean, I think when it comes to the story of this movie, I'm a bit mixed on it. Because when it comes to everything with Ed and Lorraine and Judy and her boyfriend, I loved all of that. I thought that was great. I thought it was heartwarming. I thought it was charming. It had, you know, some proper scares. But then when you get into the Smell family... Honestly, I didn't care. Their whole thing just felt really basic and generic, and the film didn't really do anything to make me care about any of the characters in the family. So whenever it would cut back to them, I'd just be like, I just want to go back to Ed and Lorraine Warren, because that's, you know, where the film is at its best.
I think I agree with that to an extent. I think the dynamic between the two daughters, the sisters, which is obviously when we get introduced to family anyway, I think that dynamic 100% carried the family, and that's what I cared about. I kind of forgot there were two younger daughters, which were only used for jump scares, to be honest. So I think we probably could have just had the middle. Like, I think they were the older siblings. I think they carried the film 100% in the family. The acting did, especially. But you have to have a family. But if you're going to make it that boring, I think you can be willing to...
I get that this is a true story. How much of it is actually true, I don't know. But these are real people, and the film is trying to base the characters on them. But, you know, ultimately, if there isn't much there for the real people... then, you know, you've got to invent something. I'd rather them have had less characters in that family and fleshed out the ones they actually use than just
Yes.
have a bunch of characters just for the sake of they were there in real life.
Yeah, because I feel like you could have fleshed out the two sisters that were
Yeah.
always 100%.
Like, I feel like you
10
could have
times
done
more.
something with them two and the mum and dad, and then that could also try and link back to what's going on with Judy, because with what's going on with Judy, that's a mother-daughter-father relationship.
Yes, so
and they could have done
as
that
we
with
go
this.
throughout the film, Judy is getting more visions. I think because the mirror is probably like being active or something like that. Okay, cinematography, right? I think we should give an award to that one shot where she is on the rocking thing. This is like cinematography, sound all together, and we just have her going like this, and
Yeah.
it's really close up, and you just have her like whispering, and you still have the music. And I was thinking, like I was ready to. I was thinking, oh my goodness, like get me out of this cinema right now. It was a beautiful shot. It was very intense. What I liked about this film is there was quite a lot of mixture of close-ups and far away. Like there was a lot of it, which
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes in horror they seem to choose one or the other. The lighting, as you said, was really good. You could see stuff. Like she was
Yeah.
in the basement, and I could see there was a man.
Yeah,
in
I
the corner.
know.
I could see the blue man, and now I don't want to look in my corner.
And the thing is, it wasn't just dark in the darker sequence. Like,
Yeah.
it felt like there was, like, hints of blue in there, and, like, it didn't
Very
just
blue.
feel, they were trying to expose it enough. It actually felt like they tried to make it look good.
Yes, I think if the spirits weren't blue, it'd probably be difficult. So I think
Yeah.
they did choose to go that way and make it more obvious. So they were blue colouring, which obviously I guess you can go with corpse and stuff.
I just think this
There's-
is just generally a better directed movie than The Devil Made Me Do It. Even just in terms of like tone, I think that they find a really good balance between the horror moments, know when to have those, and when to have the smaller character moments. So yeah, I think in terms of direction, I think Michael Sharv's kind of stepped up his game, and he clearly learned from. I mean, I know he did The Nun too, which I didn't see, but from the.
Do you mean? Wait, in that sentence, can I break it down? Do you mean the Nun 2 within it? TOO, or there's a second Nun and I haven't watched it?
There's a second Nun and you haven't watched it. Did you not know there was a second Nun? I didn't see it either, to be fair.
Why would they do that?
Money. I think The Nun's the highest grossing Conjuring movie, so obviously they made another one.
How? It was terrible.
I know!
I like this one. It had like lots of different tones. I appreciate
And
it.
it also had like some charming moments, like everything.
Yeah.
Like the boyfriend trying to impress Ed and Ray Warren. I really enjoyed all that. I thought that was really entertaining. But again, they incorporated the horror like that mirrors sequence with Judy. Thought that was really well done.
Gorgeous. I
Yeah.
thought that was really well done. I think sometimes morphets can be overdone, which mirrors are used a lot
yes.
throughout this franchise. From the very first moment in the first Conjuring, when you get introduced to Lorraine, she has there's a jukebox, and you have the circle, and that's how she sees Rudy or Rory or something. Let's have 5 categories of horror. What do you think is the most important thing in horror? Personally, I'd say eeriness.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go jump scares, right? They can be creatively done. Cinematography, soundtrack, characters. Okay, so in terms of eeriness, which films would you rank the highest in The Conjuring?
Number 1, the first Conjuring. Wait, are we ranking the movies in terms of eeriness, or?
Yeah, no. So which of the films do you think does eeriness the best?
Oh, the first Conjuring. Yeah.
The first one. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I just think it has the creepiest elements. I just find it's the creepiest. The scary moments get me the most out of all the horror moments in this franchise. And yeah, as I said, it's the only one in this franchise that's properly freaked me out.
And how do you think the third one or the second one could have done better in terms of eeriness?
Well, the third one, I just would have liked to remember anything airy in it. So, And
Yes.
to be honest, it's not necessarily a knock on the second one. It's just it's just more praise for how good the first film did it. But I still think the second one had it in spades.
Okay, and then characters.
Yes,
So you,
but
I think
this
second
is where
one's
The Conjuring
is the-
2 improves. Where,
Right, is the characters.
and this is the thing that, you can have all the eeriness, you can have the scary moments, but if you don't care about the characters, you're not going to care about the scary moments, and the scary moments aren't going to be scary. And that's why The Conjuring 2 works, because I'm scared for the characters. I want to see them get out of this situation. I've said for a couple of years that The Conjuring 1 is the better film in terms of the horror, but The Conjuring 2 is the better film in terms of the story. So I think they're kind of even for me. It's hard for me to
And
choose
what's your
one.
opinion on like soundtrack? Because I think sound is something The Conjuring does really well. Obviously, I don't think there's like music throughout it, but the soundtrack is very well done in The Conjuring.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
when
yeah,
used correctly.
yeah, soundtrack again. I'd probably say the first one, just because it kind of the themes that are used throughout the franchise originated from that first one. That especially that theme that plays over the opening titles. That came from the first one, and it's something that stayed consistent throughout the franchise, and it's something that even in The Devil Made Me Do It, where it's nowhere near as good of a film, it's still an opening that hooks you, and that's partly because of that theme.
And cinematography, I think you were saying.
Cinematography, honestly, I'm gonna go Last Rites.
Yes. What part of the cinematography would you say? Because I've said mine. And I also think they did the water elements really well.
Yeah.
I'll say it wasn't water, it was blood, but I think that was done really well.
Yeah, as I kind of mentioned, I just think it's the way the lighting's done, the use of colours. I just thought it was just a beautiful looking movie, one of the best looking horror movies I've seen in years, to be honest.
Yeah. And now that you've had time to reflect on the last Conjuring movie, where would you rank it? And would you recommend it to other people?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the movie's okay. Like, I'm bordering on good. If it had just focused on Ed and Judy and Lorraine and the boyfriend, this might have been the best Conjuring movie. But, that the whole other family really, really brings it down for me. So, in terms of ranking of the franchise, it's a really tough one. I think... Okay, so I'll start at number 4. Number 4, The Devil Made Me Do It. Number 3, Last Rites. And then number 2. Oh, this is tough. Because, my main thing always with movies is the characters, the story. That's the main thing, and it has to be good. So, and I've been saying the best thing about The Conjuring 2, the thing that The Conjuring 2 improves on, is the characters and the story. But at the same time, I think The Conjuring 1 has left more of an impact on me.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go for... Now, I need to rewatch Conjuring 2, so this could change. But for now, I'm going to go 2 Conjuring 2, 1 Conjuring 1.
I think that's a good list. I would definitely change it.
Okay,
but
go on. What's yours then?
I'm going to be honest. I think this is number 1 for me. I think the latest
Okay.
Conjuring is number 1 for me because I think it really delves deep into the whole family unit. I think it hits the eeriness where I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
It has the correct amount of jump scares. Latest one goes number 1, and then second is Conjuring, and then the rest just kind of freefall. I am such an advocate for The Conjuring. However, I really hate The Conjuring at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a dynamic.
Jesus. I didn't think that would get you like that. I thought you'd just be like, ah. I didn't.
Oh, God, Christ. Oh, it's like Doctor Who over again. The image of an image is a person or whatever. Yeah,
I
the nun is
apologise.
the worst.
I'm sorry.
But also, I'm gonna open the next script Billy sends to me. There's gonna be a random picture of the nun now. I can tell you this right now.
Does this mean you're no longer going to read the one I sent you?
Yeah. Because it's haunted.
Fair enough. Let us know your thoughts of the Conjuring movies, of The Last Rites as well. Thank you for listening / watching. I've been Billy Hamills.
I've been Skye Winston, aka the girl that screamed.
Goodbye.